Bow down before my psycho power.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about a leak that I came across. It was on Reddit. That's where I found it. And it's been really like low-key under the radar. And honestly, I don't know what to do. I seen it. I wasn't expecting to see it. And I'm just sitting here wondering whether or not it's real. First off, before we dive any further, first subscribe to the channel. Second, I cannot show any Tekken related gameplay in this video because that would give Bandai Namco kind of like the ability to take the video down, just in case the leak happens to be real, because we know when leaks are real in the past, they would take it down. But honestly, it's not too much to like actually look at. It's not like an image of the character. It's not like a, move list. It's not nothing like that. It's literally just the character's name with the file next to it. So we can't click the file, we can't go into the file, we could just see the name. But the name is very telling if you know Tekken and if you know Capcom. There's two different ways this thing could go. Well, three. One is that the leak is fake because this is a unverified leak. I myself cannot verify whether or not this leak is true, and it could be so much fake. And also it could just, but the reason why I'm talking about it is because I think it's an interesting conversation to have, because some people are intrigued by this idea and they kind of want it to be true. Some people don't want it to be true. But when you talk about the other two pathways this could go, the first way is for a Capcom collaboration, and then the second way is for Tekken 8 to be having a new character. So basically, let me spell it out like this. Currently, right now, there is a unverified leak floating around Reddit, flowing around the sewers of Tekken. And the name is in Japanese, and once you translate it to English, or to like a, readable English, it's the name is Daigo Kazama is the character's name. This may be me just reaching, but when the commentators were commentating the tournament, they were joking and they briefly mentioned the possibility of another Kazama. They said, and I quote, "The forgotten Kazama has returned." Now, we know that the commentators know more about the game than we do. Combo Breakers, where they will reveal this final character. So it would make sense that someone walking around that building knows about this character. But the name Daigo Kazama, when you look it up, it will probably lead you to a old game called Rival School. Now, I don't know too much about this, but I do know that Capcom has something to do with it, and they made a game. Some people like it, some people just not like it. But I kind of don't think that this was the name is referring to. I'll try to put a image of the character on screen so you can see what Daigo Kazama from Rival Schools look like. But the reason why I believe that this is not the character that they would do is because this is a terrible pick, right? This character is not that popular. He's not that known. No one's really would be excited for this. It's kind of like a pass kind of thing. The reason why I think it's an actual like new Tekken character is because the last name Kazama. Tekken 8 has been a lot about the Kazamas. You have Jun Kazama returning to the story. She is considered to be the chosen one amongst the Kazama clan. You also have Jin Kazama going to the island of Yakushima, which is the origin of the Kazama clan. So he is reconnecting and rediscovering his roots. That's what the story was about, is like, go find answers. But then also we see in that story where they say there's an ogre that was once trapped on that island. The ogre, we don't know if it's still there or if it's gone or what that is, but it just adds to the Kazama lore that their foundations was the same location that one of the many ogres resided. So if you have all of that going on in the Tekken 8 story, Jun Kazama show up, Jin reconnecting with its roots, it would make sense that another Kazama clan member could be added. Now, I know there was a lot of people saying, wait a minute. We have Asuka Kazama. Asuka Kazama is the most slept on Kazama of all time, and she hasn't even discovered her powers yet. She is just martial arts and Lily's sidekick for the whole entire story. And for those of you who don't know, that is kind of by design. Early 2010, Harada put out this tweet here, and he was responding to someone who was basically asking about the future of Asuka Kazama. And Harada said, "Asuka and me do not believe in spiritual powers. She will not notice her power." In parentheses, it says, however, she might awake to another power. Now, I made a separate video talking about how I think this was a scrapped storyline where Asuka was supposed to have the devil gene. I know it sounds like a far-fetched idea, but when you talk about the world of Tekken, the only power you awake to is the Devil Gene. Reina got knocked down in Tekken 8. She woke up, I was red, Devil Gene. It seems like that's the, and also to add to this element is that they had official artwork. Now, I know when I tell people that story, they absolutely do not believe it. They cannot comprehend Asuka having the Devil Gene, but I'm just reading you the tweet and explaining what Harada said at the time. But even if you ignore that part, because it's really not relevant to what we're talking about right now, the part that is relevant is where he says she will not notice her power. She will not notice the Kazama power. And that's not her destiny. So it would make sense why she doesn't do it at all in Tekken. And when players say like she's kind of slept on, not necessarily so. The developers, she is what the developers want her to be. Put it like that, right? Now, if you look at this from another perspective, when is the last time we received a Kazama character? I mean, Asuka Kazama is that character, right? What was that? All the way back in Tekken 4, Tekken 5? If in Tekken 8, Nakatsu did something that Harada wanted to do for a very long time, and that is adding in a female Mishima. Harada said that was one of his big dreams, one of his big goals, and he never really did it. He left the company. He got promoted to a higher position in Bandai Namco, so he never really had the opportunity to do so. But Nakatsu made it happen. Reina Mishima, Mommy Mishima is here, and she's the new Mishima. Now, if you think about, and I really want you guys to understand this, if you think about how the Mishima lore is built upon in Tekken 8, where they show us that they used to fight samurais and demons and spirits, and then you have the lightning god Raijin coming in. They explain so much about the Mishimas, but then they also do the same thing for Jun Kazama. You guys got to remember, in Tekken 8, they also added Jun Kazama's journal, where they explain her story, her origin, and they also talk about the Kazamas and just a little bit, but they talk about how there's other Kazamas, right? Asuka, her father. By the way, this fighter would not be Asuka's father because, to my understanding, I think Asuka's father is either dead or not a fighter. But then also, if you keep in mind, we're talking about the forgotten Kazama. No one has forgotten Asuka's father. It's Asuka's father. A forgotten Kazama will be someone who comes out of the shadows. And when you think about everything that I just explained earlier, where I was talking about what happened with Jun Kazama in the story, the chosen one waking up again, Jin Kazama, who has both the Mishima power, the Devil Gene, and Asuka power, and he becomes a master of all of those things. That's a very important moment in Tekken history. That probably has never been done, where someone has unlocked the Kazama power, the Devil Gene, and they have the power of Raijin. That's crazy. And if anything, that would definitely cause someone like a forgotten Kazama to show up. I don't know if this person would be someone who wants to take Jin down, if they will want to aid Jin, coach Jin, teach Jin, but it makes sense after all this time that the Tekken developers would like to add another Kazama character. And it would make sense for it to be a guy to even it out. 2 female Kazamas, 2 male Kazamas. I don't know if he'll be throwing out can-cans and Sabasuke parries or whatever you call it. I don't know what type of fighting style he'll have, whether he'll be shooting light beams like Jun Kazama. I mean, if you think about the gameplay element of it, it sounds pretty diabolical, and it's not something that I think too many people would want to experience. But if you just think about the direction that the Tekken developers are pushing the story in, it makes so much sense that they would try something like this. Now, of course, it would be a huge letdown because a lot of people want to see a new guest character. A lot of people want to see, the developers do something like awesome, do something, game changing, because we lost a lot of players and we want to gain people back. And then if people hear about a DLC Kazama showing up who has Jun Kazama's powers, would that make people want to return? I mean, we're still waiting to see how strong Kunimitsu is at the time of recording this video, and we'll find out much more about this leak soon. But just hearing that idea doesn't get me excited. And this is why I hope that this unverified leak eventually leads to be false. Also, another point is that they never said that all the Kazamas are extinct. They never said it. The same way Harada never said that there aren't more Mishimas. In fact, he said the opposite, that Heihachi had a lot of children out there, and those children all have his power. And then Reina shows up. There could very much be more Kazamas out there that Jun doesn't have contact with, Asuka, Jin. We could just be looking at a small subsection of this whole entire clan. With the world events that's happening, the spiritual awakenings that's happening, maybe this is the time where some of them start to kind of step into the fray. Let me know if you guys believe it, don't believe it, like it, dislike it, but that's it. Thank you for watching, like, subscribe, and bye-bye.